Look who's here.
We're worried about the Fed is controlling this market.
It is.
It's like insane.
Well, it's not exactly a Fox alert.
No, but doesn't it drive you a little nuts that, the traditional measures, corporate earnings, it's not that. It's some little old lady.
What do you make of this? So what is this? Because there is that sentiment. Well,
it's masturbatory.
Maybe they can, yeah.
It is masturbatory. And, I caught a little flack on social media saying that at one point.
Really? I can't imagine why.
But it really is. It means almost the fundamentals of stocks right now mean almost nothing. It's what's in the head of some.
Well, what do traders really want? If you had to gauge their sentiment, is it they'd rather not have a rate hike, right?
I think most traders, most investors want some certainty out of the Fed. The Fed to do what they need to do right now, which is.
Well, now we know why a couple of weeks ago she didn't do it.
Raise some rates because we have bubbles out there.
Yeah.
And let's move on. But anyway, I guess we got a story.
But
here.
real quickly, can they move in this environment?
I think they boxed in. They screwed themselves so bad. They should have raised in 2012 when we did have.
I understand that, but they can't do that now, right?
I don't know.
Well, I asked you to know.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
I understand that, but I asked you, you're not answering.
I think you have to. I mean, that's my view.
Okay. Let's switch to something equally crazy. Wall Streeters who would seriously support Bernie Sanders, who's Mr. Anti-Wall Street. Please explain.
What is fascinating about this, we saw Bernie Sanders' campaign contributions numbers, which are pretty good, right? Stunning. So just for the heck of it, I went and did a little research on who's giving, and it's the usual suspects, University of California, Berkeley, but I noticed a couple other things on his top contributors, the corporate types, or the bundled types.
Yeah.
Google is way up there. So executives at Google gave a lot of money. Then I noticed a $3,700 in contributions from none other than Merrill Lynch. Did a little more research. Found out there are two brokers in Washington State who think Bernie Sanders would be a great president.
Let me guess, their names are Hammer and Sickle. What? Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding.
This is Mr. 90% top.
We should point out that we contacted both brokers. I'm going to do a story on foxbusiness.com in a few hours and get it up. You'll get the whole thing. But one of the brokers laughed and then hung up on my producer, Courtney Crawford. And then the other basically said, well, they think, the Republicans are wrong on the economy and too wedded to social issues. And then he said, I can't believe I'm talking to you. I'm going to get in trouble here, and hung up. So there we go.
Really?
Merrill Lynch has no comment. But
that is hardly a general view in Wall Street.
No, but
right? He would be their nightmare.
Oh, yeah, it would be terrible. I mean, why any financial advisor would say, give your money to Bernie Sanders, because what he will do to the stock market. And by the way, he would destroy Merrill Lynch. He would probably force Bank of America to spin off Merrill Lynch.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be probably not good for his 401k, because Bernie Sanders thinks that we should go back to pre-Glass-Steagall times. And then, by the way, just to be fair and balanced, I went back and looked at Hillary Clinton, who's got a lot of contributions from Wall Street.
Sure.
Her biggest Wall Street contributor is Morgan Stanley. It's not Goldman Sachs. The reason for that is quite simple. A friend of ours, Tom Nides, who's vice chairman of Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, was Hillary Clinton's assistant secretary of state. He's now at Morgan Stanley, so it makes sense that.
Well, she is still, despite her leading left statements of late, far more palatable than his.
Right, and you know what else is interesting? When you look at the top corporate donors for Hillary, and this is through June, we're gonna get the update in October. Goldman Sachs is not there. Now, remember, Goldman Sachs and her were very tight. They paid her for speeches and all this. They were. Lloyd Blankfein, the CEO, is very tight with Hillary. Maybe they're sick of us talking about it.
Yeah, I guess.
They're not there. Morgan Stanley is, and J.P. Morgan is as well. And Merrill Lynch, the thundering herd behind Bernie Sanders. It's just
wow. That is a weird thing. Hey, we're talking to Charlie Gasparino. Why are we talking to Charlie Gasparino?
Yes, that's right. No, we're talking to Courtney Campbell.
Who is Charlie Gasparino?
Producer.
She does all your work.
She does.
You just show up and
she does.
pretty on camera.
Yeah.
Well, best you can.
Best
you can.
All right.